All right, no surprise who kicks off the love list for the pass catchers. It is your ride or die, Barry, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Shocker.
No.
Bit of a stunner.
I disagree. I think you're both being sarcastic. I was able to see through that. Look, the stat is the stat, which is right since week 13 of the 2021 season, his breakout year. He is the third best wide receiver in fantasy football. He is second only to Justin Jefferson in terms of receptions in that time frame as well. When he was healthy last year, he had a 29% target share. He is somebody that, again, we just talked it up with Gibbs and Montgomery as well. To your point, they play only one bad weather game over their final 10. 7 of their final 8 are in a dome. Jared Goff plays very well in a dome. Even when Jameson Williams comes back, the fact is I don't see him demanding a massive target share. I think it's going to be more deep shots with Jameson Williams. I'm not really worried about Josh Reynolds or Marvin Jones. And so, he's somebody that he has the opportunity. And I'm not saying he's going to do this because I'm still I don't know about the touchdown equity, but he could be Cooper Kupp from 2 years ago.
Wow.
He could be. I'm just saying, because again, as a slot receiver, he's going to be mismatched a lot. He's going to get separation on the line of scrimmage. He's going to just get a ton of targets. And because it's a good offense where there's not much else, they're going to scheme him open. They're going to design a lot of different packages for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And so if he gets lucky with the touchdowns and instead of 4 or 5, he gets to 8 or 9 or 10, all of a sudden, I'm not predicting number one wide receiver in fantasy because there's so many good players, the Chases and the Jeffersons of the world. But he's going to be in that elite tier, and he's not discussed as a member of that elite tier.
Okay, 40-1 offensive player of the year. I feel like you should just place that bet and add a consolidarity.
I absolutely should. I absolutely will. I'm going to wait till NBC announces its sports betting partner, and I'm actually going to do that because I'm a company man.
Jay, also on the love list, Garrett Wilson, kind of a similar situation in terms of targets being funneled to him as Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yes, Allen Lazard's there, Corey Davis just retired, but there's just not a lot at wide receiver, and he's somebody that commanded 147 on his way to winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah,
and I think just the fact that he did that with a revolving door of 4 different quarterbacks, he was able to have success with all of them at different points. So I think that Garrett Wilson, obviously the talent is there, and just with Rodgers, just the increase in talent. That's the biggest quarterback situation increase in the league this season. So Garrett Wilson, there's no reason why he's just not a bolted on top 10 wide receiver this year.
Totally agree.
Another guy that got...
that's why I have him there, right? Exactly. We've seen what quarterback upgrades do for, a lot of wide receivers. And
except Allen Robinson.
More stability at quarterback for Chris Olave. Derek Carr now in New Orleans. Olave absolutely in the mix to win Offensive Rookie of the Year last year, and he was somebody that dealt with a lot of change, it felt like, throughout the year in the New Orleans offense.
He certainly did, but again, from week 2 on, a 28% target share, double-digit fantasy points in 11 out of 15 games last year. He had the 4th highest average depth of target among qualified wide receivers last year, and the reason that's important because Derek Carr, one of the things he does really well is throw the deep ball. He ranks top 5 in both deep ball rate and deep completions over the past 2 seasons. I know hope springs eternal for you and Michael Thomas there, Jay Croucher. I am not as much of a believer in terms of his ability to stay on the field and stay healthy. And where he's going, he's going after Devontae Smith. He's going after Jalen Waddle. On Yahoo, he's basically going right next to T. Higgins. I'm a tight end. Wide receiver 12. I think Olave again was one of the guys that was on my short list to be my fantasy ride or die. Monster season coming for Chris Olave.
Yep, I would actually take him over Garrett Wilson. I just think that his efficiency of yards per route run last year was off the charts.
One of the more overlooked players, I feel like, that he makes the love list. Brandon Ayuk, obviously a good year for Brandon Ayuk. He's always had top-end talent, Jay. And San Francisco, their quarterback situation is now going to be Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold. Trey Lance, it sounds like, out of the picture.
Yeah, he had 1,000 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns last year, Brandon Ayuk, which just goes completely under the radar. Also, hasn't missed a game the past 2 years.
That's a key.
Yeah, and he's going very late. I think there's a chance that he's the number 1 wide receiver in San Francisco, and they use Debo more as a decoy. Not a decoy, but you know what I mean, like more gadget kind of stuff. Certainly at cost, I like Ayuk over Samuel, and I love Debo Samuel.
A couple others receiving votes. Of course, we did jump through Darren Waller. We know how much you like him, Barry. He's tight end 4 for you. But a couple others that received votes: Hollywood Brown, Jordan Addison, Gabe Davis, George Pickens trying to carve out his way to being the top receiver in Pittsburgh, Sky Moore trying to rebound from a slow rookie year, Luke Musgrave Tyler Higbee, Gerald Everett, and Hunter Henry round out the tight end loves there, Barry.
Yeah, you can read the article online for a lot more of my, but like in Marquise Brown, it's a volume play. Addison, Gabe Davis, George Pickens, Sky Moore, all of them talented young players on good offenses with good quarterbacks that are going to throw. Everett, I think, is always underrated. I've talked up Musgrave a decent amount. Tyler Higbee is going to be second on his team in targets on a team that is likely going to have to throw. And yeah, Musgrave, again, elite size, speed combination. He's played 100% of the snaps with the first team so far in the preseason. Hunter Henry tied for the team lead in red zone targets. There's a connection there between him and Mac Jones. Bill O'Brien likes to use two tight end sets quite a bit. He's distanced himself from Mike Gesicki.
Jay, who jumps out for you or the others?
Gabe Davis is the one where he was going significantly higher in drafts last year, and he's drifted now because he was injured last year. He wasn't right all season, so I think he's someone who should be taken at his current ADP.
3 that made the hate list here, Barry. I want you to pick one that's most noteworthy. Mike Evans, Michael Pittman Jr., and George Kittle.
Yeah, I'm going to take George Kittle. I think he's the biggest name, and he's going like as a top 4 fantasy tight end on some spots. I have him at tight end 5, but I am much lower in the consensus ranks than where he's going. Look, there were 7 games last year in which Chris McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk were all active. 15% target share. Under 30 receiving yards in 5 of those 7 games. 7 different games with fewer than 8 fantasy points last season. I think we all remember because there were a couple of games in prime time where he caught like 2 touchdown passes. And, he's great after the catch. But the concern with him is, number one, is a lot of mouths to feed there. And also, by the way, he's a great blocker. He is one of the great blocking tight ends in the NFL, which is great for the Niners and great for their run game and all the different things they do on offense. Bad for us in fantasy because if you're in line blocking, you're not catching passes. So that's a concern for me on George Kittle. Injuries have also been a part of his career as well, where he's struggled to stay healthy at times.
He's never want to depend on guys who are so dependent on touchdowns as well, which he will be this year.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.